The United States is a mess, and I wanted to make this video because of the mess that we're in. Everything is just complete chaos. Health crisis. Everything's just destroyed. The economy, the political system. It looks like the entire political system is fraudulent. Everything just seems fraudulent, and it's just one big mess. Everything's on fire. So that meme of the dog sitting in the fire, that's pretty much what we're in. And I wanted to make this video because what the hell are we supposed to do? You know, a lot of people are like, I mean, I know everybody's still going to work. Everybody's trying to make money so that they could feed their families and pay their bills and everything. But still, a lot of people are like, what the hell do we do? And I wanted to make this video because I do believe that the solution is to increase entrepreneurship. I believe that the more Americans who have ownership over the companies, I do believe one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest problems is gigantism. And I just watched this debate. It was the Jordan Peterson and Destiny debate. It happened pretty recently, and it was making the rounds on social media. And one of the things that Jordan Peterson talked about in the video was gigantism, essentially things becoming too big. So one of the things he said was that, and this is something that he tried to propose. He was proposing that the left-leaning Democratic people, they are afraid of gigantic businesses, big corporations, big business. And then the conservative right, Republicans, they are afraid of gigantic government. And it had me thinking, because I thought about this before. For me, one of the biggest problems that I saw in our society and just in anything is that when things get too big, things start to fail. And specifically with communities, because I believe, and this has just been from my own observation, that there is, and if I had a research firm, if I had the luxury of having a research firm and dedicating my time to run these, to do the research, that'd be awesome. It'd be something that I might do, but we don't. So either way, from my observation, when there's a max capacity of how many people a person can know. So when the community, when a country, a nation, whatever you want to call it, when it gets too big, it's hard for everybody to truly know each other on a deep level. And I believe that was one of the reasons why the family was the fundamental unit, because the family was actually a political structure. This is what I believe. I believe the family was supposed to be a political structure where the father was the representative of the household, much like Congress. So each father is the representative, and then they go and they meet with other representatives, fathers for other homes. And then you have that group. And then so the majority of the power was supposed to be at the smallest unit of society, because that was where people had the closest connections. And to have a large governing body like a federal government making rules for everybody across the land is not, it has the potential to be easily corrupted, because the people are so far removed from all the people. So that was sort of like the hierarchy. People had power at the family, then it went to the city, to the just the local community, and then to the state, and then from the state to the federal government. And they were all just kind of just understanding working together so that the smallest unit can have the utmost control so that they can lead and provide for their families. So that's what I think. I do think that so when I was talking about entrepreneurship being the solution to fixing everything, or at least being a good start, the idea behind it is that I do believe big corporations, I do believe it's a problem. I do believe that having essentially the goods that we buy, when it is from an enterprise that, or an enterprise that is so huge that it's really hard to face the people that are doing the things. Like one example is Amazon. How many people have direct access to Jeff Bezos and can go to Jeff Bezos and say, hey, you're the leader of this thing. we don't like this thing, we want you to change that and stuff. You can't do that. Whereas with a smaller business, you can easily go up to the owner. You know that the owner they have an incentive to make the community that they're in better. Whereas a big corporation doesn't have to have, it doesn't matter if its warehouse is in a really horrible environment, a horrible, shitty city. It doesn't matter to them because the people that are running the ship, that are running the organization, they can travel wherever they want. They're free to go wherever they want. They could go to any country, anywhere. They could just fly in their private jets and go away. So they're good. Whereas if it was a small local warehouse and they were providing for the people that they're around, well, of course they want to live in a nice area. So they're going to do a little bit more to make sure that they're providing for the community and making the community a better place. So the fundamental, the thesis is essentially that the more ownership you have, the better things are going to be. The better things are going to be. And this makes me think about the idea of the tragedy of the commons. If you've heard of that, it's just the idea that when there's a common area and people are sharing, everybody just races to get as much as they can from the common area, and they exploit it. And essentially, one of the canonical example is water. So like a water reservoir where animals go to get water. And so the idea is that everybody just drinks and takes as much water before the next person because it's going to run out eventually, and then they just end up destroying it. Whereas when somebody has ownership over it, they have an interest to take care of the water to make sure that it's not depleted and everything. And so it's just the idea that ownership, when somebody has ownership over something, they care for it more. And so I believe we need more ownership. I believe we need less. So I do believe we need smaller government. And I do believe that the strongest unit of governance should be the family. But I do believe that we have a problem where we don't have enough small businesses. I believe that there needs to be more competition. I believe in the free market, and we are supposed to be a free market capitalist society, but I don't believe we are in a free market. I do believe that these big corporations are in bed with the Congress, and they have essentially monopolized the whole entire market, and that monopoly, there's no competition for them, which is exactly what we wanted, what this country was supposed to be about, competing. But you can't compete because they are using the tools of the government to push down the competition. So I think that it is our responsibility, and I've been seeing this. I think it's really awesome. There's a lot of people over on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Twitter that people are building really cool businesses. And one of the people that I really wanted to talk about in this video was Calley Means and Casey Means. If you watch Tucker Carlson, Casey and Calley just had an interview on Tucker Carlson, and this essentially what they're doing. So Casey Means and Calley Means, they're brother and sister. They were from like Washington D.C., and they were like the classic success stories, or the classic successful people. So you almost would consider them to be like trust fund babies. They were born into an upper class family in Washington D.C. Casey Means went to Stanford, and then she went to Stanford Medical School. Calley Means, he went to Stanford, and then he went to Harvard Business School. And so, they're like the pinnacle of what you imagine, an American family that is upper middle class. They are the success. And so these people are really in the engine. They're in the construct, if you will, the main complex of people that are in the in group and have access to these rooms where they could live a really good life and they don't have to do anything for anybody. They could just keep being part of the in group, and that's that. But instead they didn't. They both left. So Casey Means, she went through medical school. She did her residency, I think it's called, and she stopped. She gave up. she took on a whole lot of debt, and she gave up a really phenomenal career simply because she saw that it was wrong. She saw that when she was working with clients or working with patients, that there was no incentive to actually help them, to cure them. The only incentive was to push them down the process until you could put them on medications, and then to solve each problem alone, by its own, without taking a holistic approach to making the person healthy. This is Callie and Casey Means from the Tucker Carlson interview.
Your siblings, Casey and Callie, you happen to have grown up in the same neighborhood as me in Washington, like blocks from me. So I know the world that you're from. You're writing about food, nutrition, the regulatory bodies that are poisoning the country. You are a lobbyist, and you are a Stanford-educated physician. I just want to go through quickly each one, and starting with you. You're a doctor.
Yes.
Tell us the progression of your thinking on this and what it did to your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So trained at Stanford Medical School, then became trained as a head and neck surgeon.
Undergrad Stanford also.
Undergrad Stanford, medical school at Stanford, then went on to train in head and neck surgery.
Yes.
9 years into my postgraduate training.
How did you do in medical school and college?
Did well, was president of my Stanford class, graduating top of my class with honors in medical school, and went on to a very competitive surgical subspecialty. Head and neck.
So I'm just saying that because normally I dismiss credentials out of hand, but these are real credentials and they matter, I think, to your credibility. Okay.
And I did what every good little medical student, wants to do, which is climb the ranks of that academic ladder. But, you
killed it.
Did well,
Yes.
and I got to the top of that mountain, right? 9 years into my postgraduate training. And I looked around me and I realized that, patients in America are getting destroyed. Children, adults, the elderly. You're so distracted in your little surgical subspecialty, focusing on the ear, nose, and throat where I was, and you get distracted. You look around at what's happening in Americans, and our health is getting worse every single year. Patients in America are getting much sicker every year, more depressed. We're getting infertile, and life expectancy is going down in a country that's spending almost 2x more than any other country in the world.
So before we get into the details of what you did, tell us, of why you did what you did.
Yeah.
Tell us what you did. So
Yeah.
you spent your whole life working toward this goal. You reach the top, and then you decide not to do it?
Yeah. I'm in the operating room in my 5th year of my surgical residency, and I'm looking down at a patient in front of me who's on our 3rd revision sinus surgery. And, I know how to diagnose her. I know how to write the prescriptions. I know how to do the surgery. But what I kind of realized in that moment was I have no idea why this patient's actually sick.
All right, so that was the interview from Tucker Carlson of Casey Means and Callie Means. Now, these two entrepreneurs, these two people, they love this country. They came from really good parents. They were fortunate enough to grow to be born into one of those families that most people would consider trust fund families, or families that have a lot of connections, and then they can become what you would call nepotism babies, where they have all this access to good universities, good jobs, and everything. And they decided to give all of that up and to put everything that they have on the line, all of that, what you would call privilege, all of that privilege, all of those blessings, put it all on the line to fight for this. They're fighting for your health. They're fighting for for America's health. And we have a lot of problems. We have problems with water. We have problems with our food, which is the ultimate problem of health. And this is what they're trying to solve. Now, Callie Means, he has a business called TrueMed, where what they're trying to do is they're trying to help people use their health saving dollars. So there's if you have a 401k, there's an account for it's kind of like a 401k, but it's specifically for health. And so you could use the dollars that you save in the health savings account for medical stuff. So he has a company that's helping people better use that money for things that they could start using immediately today that is going to help them have a better life, like gym memberships, personal training, vitamins, supplements, stuff like that. And then I don't know what Casey Means is doing actually, but she did just release a book called Good Energy, where she talks about this and everything. So they just came onto the scene. They're doing a speed run, doing podcasts and everything. Casey Means has been working with RFK Jr. and Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump does get elected, Casey Means will be somebody that will have a lot of influence in helping change the American food system. So they are really focused on healthcare. We have some entrepreneurs that are focused on other aspects of our economy and the society overall. And so there's like certain sectors where, like, for example, clothes, there's a huge increase in what people call fast fashion. And it's just really cruddy clothes that are synthetic fabrics that leach microplastics into your body. And as some of you should know, I mean, a lot of people should know, but we are plagued with microplastics. It seems like everything has plastic in it. And there's just so many studies showing that people are just overloaded with plastics in their body. There's like this interesting statistic or like fact that I think like a week people consume like a block of plastic a week or something. It was something ridiculous. But either way, we have a microplastic problem. It's getting into our systems through our packaging, our food, water, clothes, and it's just all over the place. So there's this really cool company called Industry of All Nations, and there's a couple of other ones too. And these companies, Industry of All Nations, their mission is to create good clothes. And they're trying to change the clothes industry. And the reason why they call themselves Industry of All Nations is because apparently they're not only going to be in the fashion industry. They want to change all the industries. And their underlying thesis is that the world would be a far better place if everybody who engaged in commerce got paid fairly for what they do, and everybody's taken care of throughout the entire chain. So that means that no matter what we do, whether we're getting food, movies, whatever, entertainment, all of the stuff along the chain, like the process of getting that product. So you get a shirt right here. The entire process that it goes through from being made, getting all the way to me, every person who was in that chain is doing well. Not one person is suffering or, in a really bad situation because they are doing that job. So that's like, for example, everything that we have, if a person who has, like, in order to make this computer or this camera, if there's a person that is suffering because they have a job to make to be in a particular process of making that camera, it's not good. And we're participating in that. And so the idea is, Industry of All Nations, their idea is that every industry, every company, every person should be able to live well across the full chain. And the truth is I believe that one of the reasons why we're in this mess is because we as humans are just inherently greedy. That's it. But I mean, it gets a lot deeper than that, and it's a much more complex problem. But nonetheless, I do believe what Callie Means and Casey Means are doing, as well as the people at Industry of All Nations, they are there's problems everywhere. We have problems with our education system. We have problems with education, with textbooks, information, healthcare, clothes, clean water. There's problems everywhere. And I believe we got there. There's many reasons why we got there, but I think that we got there because we have just been complacent and passive. And I believe a lot of Americans are waking up. And there's so many opportunities for Americans that have agency to step up and say, okay, I'm going to start doing this one thing. It could be something small as just making baked goods that don't have all these processed flours in them and all these nonsensical seed oils and other stuff that are just causing inflammation. You could just focus on that. You could pick a huge problem like healthcare and then find all these other little small sub problems to just make it better for other Americans. And that's really what this channel that I have here is about. It's about entrepreneurship, helping small business owners, because I myself am a small business owner, but I don't want to help people. I don't want to put resources here that just helps people to get rich. Like, I want everybody to do well. Yes, I want people to be wealthy, healthy, and everything. But there's all these gurus here on YouTube and all these people that help other people learn marketing, learn how to do sales and create lead magnets and everything, create your websites and build an online business. But I don't want people who are just coming here who are selfish and are like, oh, I need to get rich. I need, like, you go onto Twitter and you'll see all these young dudes, and shoot, yes, you should do well. You should get money. I'm not going to hate on that, but I think that I'd rather use my efforts and energy to help people that care about this country and care about making the world a better place. You guys are the people that need to know, that need to be empowered and have ownership over your labor and what you do. And I believe that if we come together, we support each other. And so this is what I want to do. I just want to help as many people as I can who have a genuine heart to be able to build something and to succeed. So that's what this channel is about. I will have the link to this interview if you want to check it out. It'll be down here in the description. It's the full video is on Twitter. I think it may be on YouTube, but it's a really good interview. There's a really emotional, potent story when they talk about their parents and how their parents didn't care about accolades and awards. They didn't care about the grades. What they cared about was whether or not they knew the truth, whether or not they knew exactly what they were doing and why they're doing it. And when Casey, when she left her medical career, her parents actually threw her a party, and that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal because a lot of parents, they would flip out, you know, they would be completely disappointed, but not their parents. And it goes to show that there's something deeper about their parents. They were highly spiritual people, and there was something deeper about them that where they understood that there's more to life than just following the script. And they had a script, you know, they grew up really privileged, and the script for them was to go to Harvard, Stanford, become, I think he was a lawyer or it was business school. Yeah. So he was a business major. So he was an MBA. She was a medical doctor. I think she was a surgeon or whatever. And so she was going to be a super successful, wealthy surgeon. He was going to be a super successful, wealthy business person, but they completely put that on the line to start tackling the medical industry. And even Callie even said that some of the people that he knew from Stanford were upset with him. He had a couple conversations calling people out about what they were doing, and they were like, hey, we know the same people, and, you know, essentially threatening him that he's going to ruin everything. And so, yeah, they're really putting they're putting their lives on the line, honestly, because what's going on with cancel culture and what has happened when people stand up for what is right, sometimes they could just take everything away from you. People just, for some reason, they just gang up on you, and you have a hard time surviving. So either way, I hope this video was interesting. I hope that this video reached people that see the problems that we have, and that believe that, I hope you believe that you have what it takes to make this world a better place and to succeed while you're doing it. And I hope you're interested in becoming a business owner or learning how to build something. And I hope you start building something, and I hope you stick around so that we could all build together. My name is Roman Kenrick. It was nice to meet you. Take care.